Am I the a-hole for exposing my parents' favoritism? My parents have always favored my younger brother. I was by no means in love, but it was blatantly obvious who they cared about more. I worked a part-time job to get my first car, but my brother got one as a present. It wasn't new, but was much newer than my car. It was the same with just about anything else, like clothes, video games, and cell phones. I'm now 18 and I'm taking a gap year before community college to work a full-time job and save money for tuition. But a while back, I heard my parents talking about how much they were going to pay for my brother's tuition. I secretly recorded a conversation from around a corner and then came out asking my parents why they were going to pay for my brother's college but not mine. They didn't notice my phone was recording and just said that my brother needs more help. I asked how so, when I wasn't getting any sort of scholarship and he likely wouldn't either. Then I asked a few more questions about why things have always been this way. They got mad, and my father told me that perhaps it's time I move out because they are sick of keeping a roof over my head. I pointed out a parent, but they didn't care. I left the room and in a fit of rage, uploaded a video to 2 different social medias I have, and ranted about how this is how my parents have always been. Well, a few hours later, my parents were pounding at my door. My dad was screaming at me about how I made them look bad. We fought some more, and they left the room fuming. My grandparents contacted me later and said they were appalled, then came to visit with a lot of the family the next day. There was a huge family intervention, and my parents were made to sit on the couch and look at their feet while being told off. It was then I found out they'd been receiving money for years from my grandparents to help with the family expenses. My brother looked like he didn't know what to do, so he sided with the rest of the family and said he's noticed how I'm treated as well. My parents gave me a huge apology that sounded forced. My grandparents have offered that I come live with them soon and will cut off the monthly payments to my parents. My father told me I should have never told the rest of the family and now won't talk to me, and my mother has been crying for days. So I'm starting to wonder if I went too far. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's wife I don't feel comfortable having her walk me down the aisle next to my dad? My mom died when I was 12. Then my dad married Sarah when I was 15. To me, she was always my dad's wife, not my parent. My step-parent if you want to use the title, but the woman my dad is married to always fitted best for me. I think my age played a big part in that, and she was never a female role model for me. She's never someone I went to for maternal advice. Now that I'm getting married, I asked my dad to walk me down the aisle. My fiancé is also getting walked down the aisle by his dad. My dad's wife thought about this and felt since my fiancé's dad never remarried and doesn't have a significant other, she should be included in the walk to show I have 2 parents and not just one like my fiancé. Therein lies the problem. To me, I do only have one parent. She never filled any kind of significant role in my life. I appreciate her as the woman who makes my dad happy, but I don't feel like she was much of an influential person in my life, and I don't love her like that. So the idea of having her be presented as my second parent feels wrong. I told her I didn't feel comfortable with it, and she told me it was wrong after 10 years of knowing her. She left it alone after that, but then she learned that I took a patch out of my mom's wedding dress to add to mine, and she told me I was refusing to represent all my parents and that was wrong. I told her yet again I did not feel comfortable with it. She said I was an a-hole, but Dad told her she was overreacting. My sisters are hearing crap about it too. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not informing my boy dad that stepdad was adopting me? My boy dad and mom had me when they were dating. He broke up with mom and got with his ex-wife and mom had full custody. He visited like thrice a year and I never went over as his ex didn't let him bring me to her house. I went to the same high school as one of my half-sister and we didn't even acknowledge each other. My stepdad has been my dad for as long as I have known him. He has always been there for me and my step-siblings treated me like baby of the family. It was my stepdad's birthday, and my sister paid for the paperwork for me to change my name and for adoption paperwork. He loved it and said it was the best birthday gift he ever received. My brother later said they got me a jersey with my stepdad's surname on it, and I posted that on Instagram. My boy dad called me and asked me if I was letting him adopt me. I said yes, it was my idea, and he got upset that I didn't show him the courtesy of informing him. I feel bad because I forgot about him and didn't even consider him when I made the decision. I should have been an adult about it and had a discussion with him, even though I don't need his permission as I am technically an adult.
Me, 35 male, with my sister, 42 female. Siblings for 35 years, got a painful message from her regarding my professional behavior as a substitute K-12 teacher, and don't know how to respond. I'm the youngest of 3 children. My older 2 sisters are both stay-at-home mothers. My older sister and I have never been particularly close since she's had kids. She seemed to like and respect me less and less. A few times over the years I've heard of something pretty nasty and insulting our older sister has said about me behind my back. It got a lot worse a few years ago after our dad died, when she seemed to transfer the issues she had with her dad to me. I always knew I didn't want children of my own, and instead have focused on my academics and career. I have a bachelor's, master's and law degree. I do not practice law, but my master's and JD are a combination in a niche field that requires both. I don't want to get too specific because the field is small, but my most recent full-time position including developing and teaching continuing education classes for law school students, attorneys and judges. These classes are more like focused weekend seminars than the kind of long-term graded classes you get in school. The judges and attorneys need to take a certain number of classes per year to keep their licenses. Anyway, about a year ago, a number of external stresses snowballed to the point of my developing severe, crippling depression, along with some other less painful things. Several people I loved died within a short time period. I'd recently relocated several thousand miles away from friends and family and didn't have any real support network. And I stumbled. Hard. I could barely get out of bed and regularly spent hours on end just sitting around weeping. I sought medical care and counseling, was put on meds and started therapy. It helped me regain some basic level of functioning, but I found myself no longer able to perform my job adequately. I wound up moving back home with Mum, hoping the proximity to family and friends would help me heal and regroup. Anyway, my hometown is small, rural place with no call for my speciality. I wasn't licensed to practice law in that state, and the best work I could come across was being a substitute teacher for a handful of public schools in my region. I thought I was doing a great job, to be honest. I loved working with the kids at all levels. I went to one of those schools and I felt like I was giving something back to the community. I knew a few of the other teachers and administration from going to the same school together. I cared and I think it showed. I would ensure I understood any sub-lesson plans left for me as well as the material and would teach my ass off. Instead of just pointing out the assigned reading pages and questions, I would go over the material in class and go through as much of the assigned questions or writing as time allowed. I'd grade papers if possible. I'd encourage class participation. Of course, I was pretty green, and it took me a while to get a feel for handling classroom discipline. I wasn't perfect, but I was trying to be the sort of teacher that I would have wanted. One who got respect by demonstrating respect for the kids. Disruptive classroom behavior is not an issue when you're teaching a room full of attorneys. I got a lot of positive feedback, especially from the students. Towards the end of school year, the school closest to me, which I preferred, was calling me in essentially on a daily basis. Most frequently I was called in to cover for the special ed classes, which has kids with learning disabilities, behavioral problems, difficult home lives and more. I had this because of the email content. On one half day, I subbed for an old friend of my older sister, Jenny, in the email message below. It was an elementary class and went through a few basic things. One of the Common Core worksheets had 2 questions that worded so ambiguously that they had multiple correct answers, not just one that was called correct on the answer sheet. I looked up the definitions of the terms to make sure I wasn't imagining things, informed the class to disregard those questions and explain how it could be interpreted multiple ways. Typos happen, both in statutes and elementary workbooks, no big deal. I left a note for the teacher explaining what I'd come across and how I'd handled it, in case she wanted to address it further. I didn't hear back from her. A few weeks ago, a bunch of family came back into town, and my older sister went out and grabbed a beer with Jenny. So a few days later, my older sister sent me this email. It's really been fucking with my head since then. I don't know how much of it is accurate, if any. I should mention, in the past year, I've let my hair grow out from conservative legal business short to shoulder length and sport a carefully trimmed beard. The email says, OP, I didn't want to tell you about this because it is embarrassing and I knew it would make you feel bad, but other sister told me that you were being stubborn and that you needed to hear some of the things that Jenny told me. She said she felt bad telling me this, but it was the truth. She said she didn't dislike you, but you've acted really badly. I believe her. Jenny is a kind, loving person and my good friend of 30 years. She doesn't have a mean bone in her body. This is truly how people experience you. This is what was reported to me. The teachers have a derogatory nickname for you. The teachers make fun of you. When you leave them critical notes, they read them out loud to each other and laugh at them. A sub has never ever left notes like yours to the teaching staff, and they think you have a mental problem for thinking you have a right to do so. You behave unprofessionally. You strut around like a rock star and seem to get an ego rush from being in front of an audience of kids when it is pretty clear that you don't have a clue as to what you are doing. The day after you sub, there is always complaints about you from the kids. The teaching staff feels you do not respect teachers because you are arrogant enough to criticize their work without any qualifications in education yourself and having never held a professional job in education. They feel you disrespect the kids by showing up looking slovenly with poor hygiene. The area is economically depressed and the kids deserve role models who look and behave professionally. You do neither. When OP subs, the following are guaranteed. He will not do his job. The teacher he was subbing for will have twice as much work to do the next day. He messes up the lesson plans and seems to have no idea of how they fit into a larger curriculum plan. Every class in the school has several kids with learning disabilities, from dyslexia to auditory processing disorders and more. When he subs, the kids in the class who have learning disabilities are often left confused and frustrated because he changes lesson plans and in doing so removes items in the lesson plan that were placed there specifically for those kids. The teachers have had to reassure these kids the next day that there is nothing wrong with them. It is really frustrating for the teachers to have to do damage control with these kids all because some arrogant guy thinks he knows better. There will be complaints about how he acted and that his clothes smell bad. He will leave condescending, insulting notes for the teacher that often portray his lack of knowledge of education, child development, the needs of the kids with learning disabilities, and school systems in general. When I said that you told sister that you considered yourself a teacher and felt that you connected with kids, Jenny laughed and said, "No one, not the teachers or even the students, considered OP a teacher. And believe me, even if you went and got a teaching certificate, no one here wants him at this school." And me saying that has nothing to do with the 2 lesson plans of mine he messed with. Yes, I was totally annoyed that I had to redo the lessons and regrade the work, but I laughed and rolled my eyes when I saw his notes. When I asked Jenny why she didn't let me or Mum know this was going on, she said she knew we'd be embarrassed. Which we are, by the way, totally mortified. She also said a lot of people at the school know me, other sister or Mum. They knew you had moved back to hometown and wanted to be supportive. Once they saw what a jerk you were, they felt embarrassed for us. So there you have it, OP. What was reported to me by someone who works at the school. You are not a teacher. You have actually caused difficulty for some kids, which I know you did not intend, but you have. Your behavior is completely inappropriate and has alienated people to the point where they make fun of you. Please go try to find a job in your own field of work. I'm not sending this to be hurtful. This was reported to me. There is nothing here open to interpretation. This is the way people experience you. I love you and want you to do well. You need to understand that any possible success in life is tied to having positive relationships with other people. Simply being intellectually smart is getting you nowhere. Good social skills, a sense of social awareness, and interpersonal relationship skills are so much more important than being smart. Love, Sis.
Am I the asshole for causing drama during an important football game? Last weekend, I, female 27, ended feeling a wee bit poorly with what turned out to be appendicitis. We were away for the weekend with my partner, male 39, so I had surgery at a hospital 3 to 4 hours away from home. I had a small complication during surgery, so I had to stay until Wednesday, yesterday. But my partner returned to work on Monday, but he came back to pick me up. The timing was bad because there was an important football game yesterday, and it was really important for my partner to watch it. I am not English, so I don't quite get the importance, but it's a big deal for him. I wanted to make sure he'd see the game. I suggested booking a room near the hospital so we wouldn't miss it due to the drive, but he wanted to see the game at a friend's place. He said he'd make it. While we were waiting to get me discharged, he was getting agitated because it was taking so long. He had to wait outside, so he was in the car the whole time because of restrictions at the hospital. After a couple of hours, he sent me a text that he had to leave or he'd miss the game. I begged him not to leave and reminded I could book a hotel, but he left without me and luckily made it on time to see the start of the game. He said he'd come pick me up tomorrow instead. The hospital wouldn't let me stay over another night or leave alone. Luckily, one of my friends came to get me in the end. She didn't get to the hospital until late, and we got back to London around 2 a.m. The whole time I was trying to call and text my partner, but he only said we could talk about it today. The whole evening I was texting and calling my partner, ever since the moment he left me at the hospital. He only sent me one WhatsApp back that said he'd pick me up later but wanted to see the game. When I got home in the night, he was so angry at me. He said I was the most selfish asshole for completely ringing and texting him during the game, and that I ruined the game for him and embarrassed him in front of his friends. Said he cannot even look at me and that I bring so much drama with me, it's humiliating to him. I feel at a complete loss. I think I might be the asshole for not understanding the cultural significance of football and asking my boyfriend to do a completely unreasonable drive to pick me up. But on the other hand, we could have watched the game in a hotel room and I wouldn't have been left alone in a hospital in another country. Am I the asshole? My 30 male wife, 32 female, gave away my dinosaur toy. Me and my wife have been married for 6 years. We have known each other for 16-ish years. I had had my toy dinosaur for 29 or 28 years. My grandpa gave it to me when I was a baby. My grandpa has sadly died. Me and my wife have 4 kids together. I love my toy dinosaur. I've had it for so long. I have so many memories with it. Everyone I know knows how much this toy dinosaur means to me. I don't remember getting it, but I remember playing with it. I played with my grandparents with this toy dinosaur. I played with my kids with this toy dinosaur. My toy dinosaur isn't in great condition. It's missing its arm and toe. My wife and I got into an argument because I didn't make food for her because I was tired after taking care of our kids. She got really angry and went to our bedroom and left. I keep my toy dinosaur in my bedroom. When my wife came home, she brought burgers and had the biggest grin. She said to me, quote, "I got rid of that stupid fucking toy dinosaur." I then ran upstairs and saw that it wasn't on the shelf. I looked everywhere in our room because she could have hid it, and I looked in her car. It was nowhere. I started crying a lot, and I went into our bathroom and cried there for 10 minutes. My wife came, and I asked what she did with my dinosaur. She said she gave it to a homeless shelter. My wife told me how, quote, "It's just a fucking toy dinosaur. Stop crying." I told her to leave because I didn't want to talk to her anymore. She left and I cried in the bathroom for an hour. Eventually, my 8-year-old knocked on the door because she was hungry. I gave her food and kept crying. This happened a few hours ago, and I've been crying because this toy dinosaur means so much to me. She went to her friend's house and she has been texting me and calling me saying how I'm overreacting. I want to know what I should tell my kids because I've been crying and they have asked me why. I also want to know what I should do about my wife. Do I let her come back home? Do I forgive her? Am I the asshole? My friends got tickets for peeing and another's goldfish died because I couldn't find my car. With the hot weather, I had to get a new air conditioner, and so I went to the mall with 3 of my friends to get one. While we were there, my friend Elaine decided to get a couple of goldfish. When we got back to the parking garage, none of us could remember where I parked my car. I hid my new AC behind a car and we all started searching. As we were looking, my friend Jerry needed to use the bathroom, and so I suggested he just sneak behind one of the cars. Elaine also began worrying her goldfish would run out of air in the bag. We checked multiple floors and still couldn't find the car. We split up to divide and conquer, and at this point, if it could go wrong, it did. Jerry finally decided to pee behind a car and got caught by security. While the 3 of us were searching without Jerry, George also had to pee, so I suggested he just go behind a car too, and we kept searching without him. Turns out he was caught by security and ticketed as well. Elaine, Jerry, and George happened to meet back up, convinced someone to drive them around the garage, and found my car. However, they couldn't find me. It took me so long to get the AC and find my car that by the time I got back, Elaine's fish had died. I've been with my partner for 4.5 years, and everything in our relationship is really good. Great, even. We have so much fun together, and he looks after me well. But we've had one consistent issue in our relationship from the start. We have an open phone policy, and I've never felt the need to go through his phone because I was never suspicious of him for any reason. But when I was going through his photo library to send myself some photos we took on his phone at an engagement party, I discovered he had been screenshotting and saving photos of my 3 best friends, housemate, and his close female friends and other girls we know for his bank. I confronted him because obviously this made me super uncomfortable and I felt like it was disrespectful to me and to all of our girlfriends. He promised this behavior would end, but Over the last 4 years, I keep accidentally stumbling across the same thing time and time again, which was terrible for my self-esteem because I now knew what he was thinking of when my friends or his friends were around. Recently, I had the feeling it was happening again due to the bathroom doors being locked during extra long showers. I checked his phone hoping I was wrong and I could put my suspicions to bed, but it was worse than I ever could have imagined. He had been logging into my accounts on my laptop when I wasn't home and going through my messages with my girlfriends and stealing lingerie pictures they had sent me when trying on some new stuff before, and other photos of my friends they had sent me in complete confidence. Plus, accessing my friends' private accounts on my laptop, taking photos of the pics on the accounts that he liked, and then wiping my history. He went so far as to crop all the pictures nicely. This was well thought out. There was also pics of his ex-girlfriend, who we still hang out with, and a lot of the photos of these girls were just normal selfies of their faces, which made it super personal. He promised to stop this time, but I keep hearing that, not to mention the trust is gone, and now when I check his phone, everything is a little too squeaky clean. I've also had issues in the past where I have had to call him out on extremely flirty texts to his girlfriends, and he swears he didn't realize it looks that way, and he's just naive. He would get super angry at me if I felt uncomfortable by how close he was getting to these girls. And now that I know he was using their photos in his alone time, I feel like I absolutely had reason to be worried and feel gaslit as fuck. I feel like my best friends deserve to know he's logged onto my laptop multiple times over the last 4 years and stolen photos of them from me so they can block him if they wish. But how the fuck do I tell someone that kind of thing? My best friend thinks I should tell all the other girls involved. Little does she know, she's one of them.
All right, so back then, this is when I was dating Joe at the time, like that or whatever. So Joe, we didn't go to the same school or whatever, so I ended up going to a different school. So at this time I ended up going to Rialto. This is when I ended up moving to Rialto in my 11th grade year, and I was sad and hurt about it, but it ended up turning out to be cool, but whatever. So I ended up moving to Rialto, and when I went to Rialto, my cousin had already moved there, y'all. Like, I mean, lived there. Like, she had moved there probably like a year prior, and she lived right around the corner from me. Like, we lived around the corner to get from each other. We went to school together. However, they had 2 different lunches, so we didn't have the same lunch. So it was like, yeah, I could hang out with you, like, passing periods or stuff like that, but it's like, at lunch, I'm, like, bored as hell. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna tell y'all what I did. So I was at school, and it used to be this boy. We're gonna call the boy Turtle, and he doesn't look like a turtle or anything like that, but I don't know why, just thinking back on that, he's reminding me of a turtle for some reason. I don't know, but anyway, we're gonna call him Turtle. So it was this boy named Turtle or whatever, and he used to always come up to me and talk to me or whatever, and just like, oh, how are you, and can I walk you to class, all this other stuff. And I seen Turtle was kind of popular, so I'm ashamed. So I seen, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be cool with Turtle so I can make some friends, y'all. Because for some reason, like, I don't know, like, this was my first time being a new girl in like a long time. Like, yeah. So anyway, I'm like, I don't know, for some reason I was just really not meeting friends like that. Like, it was a minute. So anyway, so I was hanging out with Turtle or whatever, and Turtle ended up asking me out. So I'm like, I guess, whatever. Y'all, so I ended up dating Turtle, and y'all, it's crazy because the whole beginning of this relationship with Turtle, I had intentions on being with Turtle to meet friends, and Turtle ended up breaking my heart. Y'all, the fuck, it's like, damn, I used you and you broke me. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I started dating Turtle or whatever. And I started meeting friends, hanging out with like the people he knew and stuff like that. And y'all, when I tell y'all I had drama because of Turtle, I had fucking drama because of Turtle. Turtle was a hoe ass nigga, and I started liking his personality, and just like we was vibing and stuff together. And the only reason, I know y'all probably thinking like, girl, it's gonna be somebody like, that's why Joe did you the way he did you later in life. No, Joe was already doing fuck shit at this time too. Like, y'all, Joe had told this one girl that he was gonna be her kid's stepdaddy, and he was doing the most, y'all. Like, it was just, we'll get there. But yeah, Joe had asked me for like, I think he was like, made it seem like he had to pay a phone bill or something like that. And when I read messages, he gave the girl money for her baby diapers. Bitch, please. Yeah. At that time, it was fuck Joe. So yeah, I was like 16 at this time. Right, Joe, you want to be a stepdaddy? Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, So yeah, so I was liking Turtle. Turtle was cool. Like we would talk, vibe. He was really cool. Like, you know, he would like on days where my mom, cause either like my mom would come get us or my uncle would come get us, but like on days where they wouldn't come or stuff like that, like Turtle would walk me home. Like me and Turtle was just, it was so cute. It was cool. I had never had a boyfriend at school, so I was really just falling in, like, not in love, but in lust, you know, puppy love. Yeah, so I'm dating Turtle. Everything's cool. I'm having drama with girls at school, but it didn't matter to me because I'm like, who's still walking me to class while you over there mad? Because I mean, you and Turtle, because y'all, I wasn't giving up the goods to Turtle at all. I had already had my mindset like Joe's gonna get it, but eventually when that happens. But y'all, I wasn't just worried about none of that. So Turtle wasn't getting us. So it was funny because it was like, y'all hoes mad at me because y'all giving up the coochie and I'm not, and Turtle still walking me to class and still hand in hand with me, and y'all hoes just mad because y'all just got AIM conversations and fucking outside or somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So one day it was like coming up to New Year's Eve, y'all. When I tell y'all my New Year's Eve is just a weird day. Like, it's not weird, but it's just like New Year's Day is really like a horrible day for me, period, just period in life. But I'll tell y'all why eventually later. But yeah, so Turtle was like, what are you doing? Mind you, at this time I used to like know people because he knew people, but it wasn't really like they was my friends. Like, they wasn't really like friends with me, or like I wouldn't hang out with them and shit like that. So one day Turtle was like, okay, New Year's Eve was coming up, and he was just like, what do I have planned? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see if my mom gonna let me go to LA. If not, then I'm gonna have to figure something out here, because, you know, I really wanted to go to LA to be with my real boyfriend. So yeah, of course I didn't tell Turtle this, but that's what I wanted to do. So I'm like, we'll see. And he was just like, okay, well, we might all go to the homie house. It'd be like turned up or whatever. He was like, but you could come by before. So mind you, this probably was like the beginning of December. Everybody used to go hang out like Friday nights after school, like that. Everybody used to go hang out over there. So he's like, you could come through like now, you know, and see just how it is. So I was like, okay. So I go to his homie house or whatever. We're not gonna give him a name or whatever, it really don't matter. So I go to his homie house and everything was cool. Like, everybody was chilling. It was like a lot of people from school was at his house and used to kick it and shit like that. It was just a real cool environment. So I'm like, okay. So I started meeting like friends that had different lunch, like, you know. So I'm meeting different, but they was at his house, at the friend house. So I'm meeting them, they cool or whatever. So I start talking to them and stuff like that. Turtle ended up like getting kicked out or something like that. So he ended up getting kicked out. So mind you, at this time I'm still cool, and he ended up getting kicked out and moving. He didn't move far, he still lived in Rialto, but he just moved like somewhere else. So at this point, because the homie's house was walking distance from mine, so I'm still hanging out, I'm meeting friends, I'm cool with everybody now. Like, so I still was going over there, like I was still turning up, because at this time me and Turtle was having issues anyway, because like I said, he was cheating on me with anybody who would give it up to him. So yeah, we had a lot of issues. And so yeah, so I'm hanging out with everybody and stuff like that. So one night we was hanging out, and y'all, my mom, when I be telling her about this, she be like, well, I'd rather me had did it than anybody else, and then they poisoned you. Y'all, my mom when I used to tell her like, hey mom, for some reason when I moved to Rialto, like, I don't know if I was depressed or if I was rebelling, I don't know, I just didn't really be out there, but I ended up liking it, like I said. But I don't know, I started drinking. That's when I started drinking, when I was in the 11th grade and I moved to Rialto. So it was bad, y'all. It was bad. Like, now that I'm an adult, I don't know if it's because I did it early. Like, it's like whatever, I'll drink when I go out, I'll have one drink or whatever like that. But y'all, it was bad. So I had a little drinking problem or whatever. I used to love me some fucking Jose Cuervo. I don't know who the hell gave me that. Oh, I got it at the homeboy house. They used to have a bar in their house. So yeah, I was drinking Jose Cuervo. And then y'all, around this time is when Four Locos was going up. So I used to have my mom buy me Four Locos. Don't know why she was buying them for me. Y'all, don't know why. But it's not like I ever told her I was depressed or anything like that. I'm pretty sure if she knew that, she probably wouldn't have bought me them, but whatever. So we used to all, cause like, if like the girls I hang out with, like, we used to all put in, y'all. I had my money for my own Four Loco, but I don't know, whatever. I mean, we did come out of school and nobody went home. People would go straight to his house or whatever, so whatever. But we used to go in on the Four Locos sharing it. But mind you, how strong Four Locos is, if you ever had one, y'all, them motherfuckers was strong. You really didn't need the whole fucking can to yourself, honestly, because that shit already blacking you out and it's gonna take you there. So we used to drink for a loco. So this one night we had probably got like 4, and we going in. It was like a whole bunch of us, and we was at the boy house. So we drinking, we going up. It was this one boy, dang, I don't even remember his real name, but I want to hit my homegirl up and ask her whatever happened to him though. So we drinking and stuff like that, and he have on this boy's shoes, the boy who house it is or whatever. So the boy like telling him like, you know, he did at first, he did it low key, like, you know, telling him like, hey, you doing too much, because he had shoes on. He was doing the most, like really fucking his shoes up. So he told him like low key, and he still just kept doing whatever he was doing. So then that's when he said it like out loud to everybody, like everybody heard. So he got mad, like he got mad, like, oh, you trying to put me on blast in front of everybody and all this other stuff. So they get into it or whatever like that, right? They get into it. Next thing you know, that he just walked away and left. He was just mad, hot, walked away and left. So nobody paying attention to him. They just like, oh well, whatever, he gone. And so they like, oh, did you get your shoes back? So next thing you know, we standing there like we all facing one way, and some shoes just come flying like over the crowd, like of us, like shoes. It was the boy's shoes, so he threw his shoes, and they like, what the fuck? And so old boy come, y'all, this story is going somewhere, y'all, it's going somewhere. So old boy come over there, and next thing you know, he like, yeah, you want them fucking shoes back? You want them shoes back? So he like, bro, why the fuck would you throw my shoes? So he's like trying to get into it with him, like they finna fight. And the boy do this like he got, you know, thing on him. So we like, y'all, I'm drunk as fuck. Me, I'm the drunk dumb one. Oh my god, he has a gun. Like, you know, like everybody like, what the fuck? Everybody running. So I'm like, fuck, we was supposed to turn up here. Y'all, we like trying to get away. All this because the boy who house it was, he went in his house and locked the door and didn't let us in. Nigga, you ain't shit. Like, so he didn't let us in. So we like ran through the like parking lot, because he lived in these apartments, whatever. So we ran through. So everybody like, fuck, nobody was trying to go home. So we like, damn, where are we gonna go? Y'all, mind you, remember I said my auntie lived around the corner? So I was like, I know where we could go. I have somewhere for us to go, y'all. I have somewhere for us to go. So we walking down the street. I'm like, we go to my auntie house, because my auntie was out of town at this time. If you're watching this, I'm sorry, y'all. She found out about it anyway, because my cousins told, but y'all, we'll get there. So I'm like, I have somewhere for us to go. And we go to my auntie house, y'all. I told them like how they porch was set up. I told them like stand over in the driveway area. I'm like, I'm knock on the door, and when they let me in, then I'll let y'all in. Shit. I couldn't take them to my house. Like, my little sisters was babies, and my mom was not going for that shit. So I already knew that. So I knock on their door, and and it's late night, y'all. I'm drunk as fuck. So I'm like, hi, hey y'all. They like, Simone, like, what the fuck are you doing here? And mind you, the fact that they even told on me, I remember when I reversed and told on them, because they was up in the house cupcaking with they booze and shit, and I was just like, how y'all tell on me? Y'all. But anyway, so I'm like, can I come in? They like, yeah. I'm like, can my friends come in? So they like, okay. Next thing you know, it's a whole bunch of people deep. I'm like, come on. They all coming in, and everybody in the house. So I'm like, they looking like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, let's have a party, let's turn up. So I'm trying to play music. I'm playing music off their computer. It was just a mess. I'm on AIM telling people, like, tell people, invite people. I'm on AIM trying to invite people, telling them to invite people. Somebody did come, like a few people did show up. Like, it was just crazy, y'all. They ended up telling me, because this one girl, she was twerking on a heater and she broke it. And you know the heaters that be on the wall, like, yeah, she was like doing something on it, I don't know, but she broke the heater. And y'all, and I was just like, oh my god, like, it was just a mess. It was a mess, y'all, a mess. And then mind y'all, at this time I was on like probation at school, so I had to go to Saturday school. And I remember my mom was telling me, like, if you don't, because I had already lied and told her I was gonna stay the night at my auntie house, which I was, but yeah. So she had told me, like, if you don't get to Saturday school, like, I'm on your ass. So y'all, I had to go to Saturday school the next day with a hangover. Boom. Okay, so let's get more into it. That was just a little backstory of old boy house. So let's get to the juicier parts. So yeah, so at this time I'm starting to like Rialto. Like, I'm not even tripping about going to LA on the weekends, because it was like, LA is cool, like we have the teen clubs and shit like that, but however, I mean, we ducking and dodging bullets and don't have rides home on the bus. Like, so I'm like, but I like it out here. It's parties too, like, it's cool, like, you know, it's cool. So I wasn't really tripping. So time go by or whatever, and I'm still cool with I'm still dating Turtle or whatever. And Turtle, like, this one day he told me to come to his house. So I'm like, okay. So I leave school early. I had ditched or whatever, and I went to Turtle house. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go to his house. So I went to his house, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go to his house. So I leave school early. I had ditched or whatever, and I went to Turtle house. So I'm like, okay, so I leave school early. I had ditched or whatever, and I went to Turtle house. And y'all, so I'll go to Turtle house. Well, it wasn't even his house he invited me to. He invited me to his homeboy house. So I go to Turtle's homeboy house or whatever. And Turtle was just being weird. Like, he was like, okay, well, you should start going back now because your mom's gonna know, like, it's time for you to go home, like, before school let out. So I was like, nah, it's cool. I'm gonna tell her I'm going somewhere after school. So he like, oh, okay, well, like, he's just being weird as fuck. So next thing you know, his homie invite these bitches over there, y'all. This one girl was young as fuck. She probably went to the middle school. Mind you, like I said, was in 11th grade. So she probably went to the middle school. So she was young and she just like, oh, Turtle's my best friend, this, that, that. I want to get my aim and all this other stuff. Which I thought was pretty weird because I'm just like, why is your best friend like a 10-year-old? But hey. So I'm just like, okay. So she was like getting my aim and stuff like that. So again, it's getting closer to New Year's or whatever. So I'm like, she's aiming me and she just started telling me all this shit. She was like, since Turtle's my best friend and you his girlfriend, you're my best friend now. Like, she was just, I don't know. So she was telling me all this shit. So one day she was telling me like, best friend, I just don't want to be a fake bitch. So I'm going to let you know Turtle be fucking on my sister. Bitch, what? How am I? I'm not your best friend. Yo, so I was hot. I'm like, Turtle, like, for real, dog. So Turtle basically was just telling me like, oh, well, you ain't giving up none. And all this, like, got into a whole argument and was just really made me feel so fucking bad, y'all. One thing, if you're in high school and you watching this, don't let no nigga make you feel bad about shit like that and try to pressure you into it. Because they not worth it. Because, y'all, I don't want fucking Turtle now, today, that, then. Ugh, Turtle. Anyway, so yeah. So, boom. So New Year's Eve coming up. Mind you, like I said, I was still hanging out at his homie house, like, because homegirls used to be there. Like, it used to be cool. So I knew about the New Year's Eve party, y'all. I knew. So I had my mom go get my friends from LA since I wasn't going. And, yeah, so I go to the New Year's Eve party or whatever. And, y'all, when I tell y'all, we got so fucking drunk. So we was supposed to, the boy who's throwing it, like, at his house, his parents was supposed to leave to go to, like, some club or whatever. So the mama and like everybody was getting ready to go, but while we all in the living room faking like we not really drinking, but we drinking and we drunk, the dad was like, I'm gonna stay here. I want to see how this plays out. I'm gonna stay, y'all. And we just like, fuck. So the mama like, okay, that's on you. We going out. So they leave, they go out, and the daddy stay, and he just sitting there like, just staring at us, smiling, and we sitting there awkward to where the boy, he finally was like, my dad is cool, he don't mind if we drink, he cool. He like, yeah, I'm the cool dad, y'all turn up, have fun, dance with, do what y'all was doing. So I'm like, okay. So because at first we was kind of irritated, like, why was he there? So I'm like, all right, whatever. So it's just going up. Turtle's there. He's mad that I'm there, you know, but I'm not paying him no mind because it was another nigga worried about me that night, and the nigga that was worried about me that night was the boy's dad. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't finna even act like that. But no, his dad was very fucking creepy. So anyway, his daddy was like making us drinks, y'all. Like, we drinking our Four Locos and stuff like that. And he like, what y'all drink? Oh, y'all drinking that cheap shit. This man's daddy is mixing me up Hennessy with Coke mixed with other alcohols and shit, making me this whole drink, y'all. I'm over there fucking faded, like falling, stumbling and shit. Like, we are so fucking drunk. Well, let me stop saying we, because, well, everybody else, my friends, they wasn't really drunk like that because they was like scared for me. They used to really be like scared for me how bad I used to get drunk back then. So they used to really just be like, Simone, okay, like, no. So I'm over here stumbling and stuff, y'all. So what's his name, daddy just kept on to where this one girl started getting into it with him. She was just like, yo, daddy being a fucking creep, like, you know, like, why are you keep trying to get her drunk? He like, oh, I'm not trying to get y'all drunk, I'm just making sure, you know, y'all getting the right amount so y'all don't be fucked up. But they like, look at Simone, like, look at her. And I'm just like drunk as fuck. So what's his name, Turtle's still trying to, he like, at this point, he trying to talk to me and shit like that, because he noticed I'm not talking to him, like, I'm dancing, I'm just having a good time. So he trying to talk to me and stuff like that. So he like, oh, do you want to get back together? You gonna have to do what the other girls is doing, like, you gonna have to give us some coochie. So I'm just like, boy, ain't nobody worried about you, like, you know, it's not even that big of a deal. So he like, okay. So here come old boy's dad. He like, nope, not in my house. He was like, young lady, you seem like you're very out of it. Let me take you upstairs to my room so you could just lay down, because you just need some rest. Lay down with who, sir? With you fucking freak. So I'm just like, At this point, I'm just sitting there like confused. I don't know what to do because I'm drunk as hell. And here go my friend. She's fine, sir. She's fine. Like, she don't need to lay down in your room. Like, that's where she could lay down on the couch. And y'all, let me tell y'all too, they had a cousin that was there too. She was older and she just was sitting there watching the whole thing, just loving it. Like, yes, kids getting drunk with my freaky uncle. Yes. Yeah, so he just trying to get anybody upstairs to that room. And I'm just like, what's up with him? And he really just was making this, because every time somebody would get into it with him or something like that, he would just laugh it off and be like, I'm just making sure y'all girls is good. I'm making sure y'all are good. So it was like, whatever. So I don't know, y'all. I got so drunk, stuff started blacking out, like, to me. And I don't know, I remember crawling on the stairs. Like, I remember crawling on the stairs, and Turtle was sitting at the top of the stairs like, come on, come on. And I'm crawling up the stairs, drunk as fuck, looking a damn fool. And my homegirl was like, come on, Simone, let's go. So I called my mom to come get me, y'all, whatever. And she sent my stepdad, y'all. I was so drunk that I don't know why I kept doing this. Every time he would call me like, I'm outside, I'll laugh and be like, okay, and never come outside. So he ended up leaving us. Eventually my mom came and got us or whatever, right? So here, let's start getting into the juicier parts. So I get home, I'm drunk as fuck. And mind y'all, when I used to get so drunk, my mom, I used to hide it to where she knew I was drinking Four Locos, but she didn't know I was getting drunk like that. And she didn't know it was that bad, y'all. So we come back in there and they like, shh, be quiet, like, don't get us in trouble. So I'm like, all right. Y'all, while we laying there just talking, me and my friends, and next thing you know, I'm like, I gotta go tell my mom something. They like, what? I went in there in her room. It's like 3 in the morning. I'm like, Mom, I love you so much, and I just want you to know, just talking some dumb drunk shit. And she was just like, get the fuck, you drunk? I'm like, I'm not drunk. I'm just crying, y'all, crying a hot ass fucking mess. And she like, get the fuck out. So I go, and she's like, my stepdad like, I'm gonna talk to you in the morning, because why the fuck are you drunk? And I'm just like, fuck. So this is what I do. We laying there, we talking and stuff, and I'm just telling them about all this other stuff about Turtle, and they just like, y'all, they like telling me Turtle is not worth it. Joe looks way better and all this other stuff. And I'm like, right, you right. So I'm just like, I need to be honest with everybody. They like, what do you mean? So I'm like, hold on. So I hit Joe, and I'm like, you up? And he was like, yeah. So I called him. I'm like, Happy New Year's, babe. Happy New Year's. Because I think I kissed Turtle that night too. Man, I was really drunk. I really don't remember like that. But anyway, I'm like, Happy New Year's, babe, to Joe. And he like, Happy New Year's, Happy New Year's. So I'm like, all right, hold on real quick, because I just want to tell you something. He's like, okay. So I'm like, hold on. Guess who I called on three-way, y'all? Turtle. I called Turtle on three-way. My friend's like, Simone, hang up the phone. What the fuck? I'm like, hello, Turtle. He like, yeah. I'm like, hold on. And I put it on through, and I'm like, hello, Joe. Hey, Turtle. They like, hello. And they like, Joe like, what the fuck was that? I said, no, don't hang up. I gotta tell y'all something. So I was like, Joe, I've been dating Turtle at school, but he actually cheated on me, so we broke up. And I'm like, and Turtle, I actually have a boyfriend who is Joe, and he's in LA. Yeah. When I tell y'all, Turtle was like, bitch, you're weird, and hung up. I was just like, Joe, you still there? Joe, y'all. And he was just like, wow. Mind you, this is when I should have known. I should have fucking known Joe was crazy, because he did not hang up. We talked on the phone, and we talked about it, probably because and at this point I was thinking like he just didn't feel bad, because I just told him and all this other stuff, and he was just probably thinking like, well, I am dogging you the fuck out in LA, so I could understand why you're doing this. I don't know, y'all. It was just a crazy mess. Like, after that, he ended up like not talking to me. I had to tell my mom, like, I have to go to LA. Like, I have to go to LA. I didn't tell her why or whatever, but I ended up going to LA, y'all. And when I went, y'all, it was just crazy. But yeah, that's the time my dumb ass got caught up, because I was drunk and fucking dumb and wanted to confess everything to everybody. And let me just tell y'all, that next day, because I kept telling everybody, when New Year's hit, I'm gonna be a new me. It's gonna be a new Simone, y'all. Oh my god, my mom had told me, because I fell out with everybody. Like, I was just being, because y'all, I'm the super nice one who let so much shit go by and let so many people just run over me. Obviously, as y'all can see, I'm not like that no more. I don't deal with people like, but y'all, so I was just that person. So I'm like, new year, new me. I'm gonna be more blunt. I'm gonna be more just on shit. Like, y'all not about, it's just gonna be a different me. that different me made a lot of people, at that time I was just like, no, I gotta get my friends back, I'm gonna go back to being on nice Simone. But now I'll probably be like, oh well, you know, if something bothers me, I'm gonna talk about it. But that new me, it made me fall out with my friends, y'all. Like, it was bad. Like, I really fell out with them because they was just like not liking it. And I remember my mom told me, she was like, the new Simone is gonna get the old Simone ass beat. And I was just like, and I don't know why, it's just so funny to me, because I was just really like, dang, y'all didn't like me. Like, y'all didn't like the new Simone. I really kept telling everybody, the new Simone, the new Simone. And it's like, the new Simone, I mean, I didn't need those guys in my life anyway. Me and Joe, as y'all can see, was still holding on strong. But yeah, turned on me. After that, it really like ends stuff like, or whatever like that. But after that, y'all know they always come running back. So y'all know who came trying to come back. But I said,
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to see more great videos. See you again.